Okay, well, look, I'm just going to put a very quick emotion. I'm going to bring Jose Ucar on. I know a lot of you, he's been doing a lot of stuff on social media. I love when I have speakers like Jose, who's very proactive on social media, promoting his talk, promoting the event. Jose, thank you so much. How are you?
Bernardo, hey, my friend, you're speaking about energy, buzzing, intuition. I'm ready. I mean, I have to say, as I said before, I've been quite proactive on social media because since I've met you, I've become a fan. I mean, this expo is fantastic. Yeah, I'm excited. It is a pleasure to be here. So I'll
Thank
keep
you.
on posting after this as well, so just so you know.
Thank you, Jose. I will remember that. No, but thank you. You've been a blessing, great energy. So delighted to have you here. Jose Ugar, he's an international communication and influence expert. He helps business leaders to build strong and successful international relationships with customers, work colleagues, and teams by understanding what it takes to communicate internationally with impact and confidence. Now, the title of his talk is The Power of Conflict to Lead and Influence. It's a very exciting title, but we had an Instagram live the other day and he had me intrigued because I think this makes absolute sense. Jose, the floor is yours. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Bernardo. Right. Well, people, just so you know where I'm going to be taking you through, okay? I like to divide my sessions in three, okay? So, first of all, when it comes to conflict, I want you to understand what is it that I mean by conflict, okay? So I'll start here. That will be the first part of the presentation. Conflict, regulating emotions, fear, okay? That'll be the first chunk. Second part, we will be delving into conflict based around our definition from this first part. I'll give you, definitely, I'll be giving you tools. I want you to go and apply this knowledge right away, experiment with it. And then the third part, I'm going to be giving you some additional strategies to deal with conflict effectively. Deal with conflict, as I like to say, gracefully. Okay? And then by the end of it, after 20 to 25 minutes, we wrap it all up and you will be walking away with something that you can go and apply. Okay? As I said before. And, why did I pick this topic for this session? Because I strongly believe that once you learn to regulate your emotions and to have difficult conversations with anybody more often, you can become the best you or a greater version of you or a better you. Because honestly, I don't think you will ever, including myself, we will ever be the best because we're always improving. Okay. This is a journey, this is a process. So, the first thing, what do I mean by conflict? Remember the first thing I was going to be speaking about? I want to start shifting the paradigm because conflict within the context of this presentation is going to be the disagreements we have with people on a daily basis. Difference of opinions. I think this, you think that, we don't agree. That is conflict. That is a version of conflict. Just disagreements, misunderstandings. So, how can we learn to use this to our advantage? Because what happens when we have a disagreement with another person? Very likely, we don't want to address it because we don't want to upset that person, or we don't know how to deal with it. So we hold back. Okay. If we think about emotions, that's why self regulation is so important. And we're going to be speaking more about that. Whenever we go into conflict, we feel it. We don't tend to feel it here. We feel it here. We feel it in our gut. We feel it in our heart. Okay. And our reaction, which is linked to our primal reactions, we tend to either fight that situation or flight. Okay. When we fight, we get aggressive. We may mistreat people in the process. And what happens in there? That relationship suffers. What happens if we become submissive or flight? Again, that relationship suffers because we're not addressing that situation. The whole idea behind this talk is to learn how to address disagreements. The benefits of it, it can impact your resilience, how you begin to think on your feet more proactively, how you can impact people positively, okay? Whether they are your team members, whether colleagues, friends, even family. Yes, even family, but I won't be speaking about family today. So, in order to move forward, I need to tell you a story. And through this story, we're going to cover the 3 areas of this presentation or session. Let me take you back to one of the many training sessions that I deliver. And this was for a group of leaders on leadership skills and communication. Hey, providing feedback effectively, having difficult conversations. I was going to be spending 2 days with this incredible group of humans. And during the first couple of hours, there were 12 to 14 of them. Within the first couple of hours, yes, I go again. You'll see that I tend to repeat myself with intention. I want you to remember stuff. I started to sense a bit of a energy within the room that was disrupting interactions. And there were people contributing, but then there was an energy coming from one of the participants. And every time he was contributing or sharing, people started to shy away. And it became a little bit disruptive. Well, quite disruptive, I would say, for the first 2 hours. This person was very well spoken, a leader, young leader, but very well spoken, unlike me. And with the contributions, his contributions were to the point, were very good. But again, there was something about the way in which he was doing it. And of course, if we were going to be 2 days together, I needed to deal with that situation as effectively as I could. So I started thinking, what is it about this person? What can I do about it? We went out, and you will see how relevant this story is for everything else that I'm going to be presenting in a second. Go out, grab a coffee, and I go and, get close to this person because I want to share what I'm thinking. Okay? Yeah, you can sense some conflict about to take place, about to happen. And when I get close to this person, and I'm gonna share his name, Matt. Okay, a fantastic guy. I'm gonna share straight away. But that day, I had to deal with that behavior. Important behavior. So I'm getting closer to him, and as I'm getting closer to him, I begin to look up, and it happens that Matt is quite tall, way taller than me, and I'm about to deliver something that may upset him. What happens here is fear creeping in. I begin to experience fear. Yes. And I still don't know what to say, how to do it. And eventually I take my time and I go ahead and I give him a little nudge with my elbow. I look up to him. Matt, I want to tell you something. And he looks down to me. Yeah, Jose, tell me, what's up? Very confident. Way too confident. I took my time. I'm sensing something about you, Matt. There is something about you that is impacting the flow, the chemistry, the energy in the room. Yeah, go on, tell me, Jose. What is it? Yeah, so he wants to know. I look up to him again. I say, and at that moment, it came to me. That's it. That's it. I nudge him again. Matt, I'm finding you quite arrogant in the room, quite arrogant in the way you are sharing your ideas and, presenting in front of the group. I said it the best way I could. What do you think his response was? He looked down. He just went like that with his shoulders. Yeah, Jose, I'm arrogant. My partner has told me I'm arrogant, and some of my colleagues have told me I'm arrogant. Yeah, I'm okay with that. I didn't see that one coming. So I look up to him again and I said, okay, look, we need to reach a compromise here because that behavior is impacting how we're dealing, okay, with the group, and it's impacting the delivery, and it's impacting potentially the outcome, and we're going to be 2 days together. And he said, it's okay, mate, don't worry. He kind of, gave me a pat on my shoulder. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, it's all right. Don't you worry, buddy. Okay. And I said, fine, thank you. That was it. I didn't do or say anything else. He did go back in the room and he changed his behavior slightly. That was a difficult conversation. But why is that relevant in terms of influencing and leading people? Well, to my surprise, I was having coaching sessions with each one of the participants 2 weeks later. Well, to my surprise, when Matt came to my session, I'm expecting him to be, well, Jose, we got 90 minutes, but I haven't got much to say. There you go, my friend. Everything was good. Thank you so much. Bye. That was the assumption or well, I was a bit predisposed after the conversation we had. Oh, people, to my surprise, and this is the beautiful part of conflict. He said to me, Jose, listen carefully, Jose, I want to spend the next 90 minutes, 1.5 hours, the next 90 minutes speaking only about that arrogance that you mentioned. After that day, every time I feel like I want to say something, and I link it back to what Robin shared on intuition, if I sense something, I will find the best way to present it to the human being because I recognize that there can be a greater impact moving forward, even for the relationship. Okay? So that's the end of that story. Now, what I'm going to do is use that story of me and Matt having that difficult conversation to explain some of the points. Okay? How is that so far, people? By the way, if you want to comment, if you want to ask some questions along the process, do so. And if there's time at the end, I'll answer them. If not, get in touch. I'll find a way to answer those. You can visit me on social media anywhere. I'm everywhere. I'm checking the time quickly here. Right. So what was the first thing that happened? As I mentioned before, when we go and have a difficult conversation, when someone rubs us the wrong way, says something that we don't agree with, we tend to get emotional most of the time. We tend to experience fear, right? Well, when it comes to fear, I've got an acronym, okay, that I'm going to share with you that will help you become more rational. Why is it important to become more rational? Well, we begin to think on our feet and we stop being aggressive and being submissive, fight, flight, and we actually get into that rationale to go and handle a conversation or a difficult situation more effectively. And the fear acronym, write this one down, stands for whenever you experience fear, face it. Yeah, face it. Matt, face it. I went for it. Let me face it. There is something here. The E, embrace it. By embracing it, I mean, yes, let me do something about it, of course, but let me understand what's really going on. That's why I took my time and I processed it. And I even thought, well, why am I feeling uncomfortable about this? Understanding myself, but I'm embracing that fear because it's uncomfortable. Third, F-E-A, and then the R, A, act on it. I faced it, I embraced it, and then I acted. I presented that idea to him in the best way I could. And then finally, I went and reflected on it. Fear, exactly. That's it. So you face, you embrace, you act like I did, and then you reflect. Is there anything I could have done differently? Of course. I mean, there will always be a learning after we have a difficult conversation or after I've delivered a presentation. So always reflect after something, after you take an action. So that will be the first thing. So next time you're about to have a difficult conversation, there's conflict in there, remember fear. Use it to your advantage. This is part of the framework that I call developing a fear embracing mindset. Okay? Yes, face, embrace, act, reflect. Thank you so much, Best You Expo. Boom. That's the first part. We recognize, we get emotional, fight, flight. There is fear along the process, and now you act on it. Great. That's the first part. Now, let me explain to you some of the things I did as I was having that conversation with Matt. And for these people, I like to make things simple. Yes, probably because, well, I'm not going to say I'm slow, but I like saying simple, because then I'm listening to something I can go and apply it. That's kind of my style. This second stage, which is delving into the conversation, I'm going to give you a framework that you may enjoy or you may even taste. Okay? And it comes from one of my travels, specifically Mexico, when and where I was in Mexico City for business, and I had the opportunity to experience communication to a whole new level while enjoying a taco. Taco, Mexican food, a taco like that tortilla. If you don't know what that is, look it up. Again, taco. Taco, TACO, will be fundamental, okay, for you to get ready when delving into a difficult conversation. And I keep on going like this because this is where math is, remember. Taco, what do I mean by this? The T stands for tailoring, tailoring your communication every time. This is great, not just for difficult conversations. This is great for any communication with another human being. This is also great for building trust, tailoring. What did I do as I was communicating with him? The notch. I'm tailoring my communication. I'm adapting. I'm matching. I'm playing with my voice, my tone. I'm taking my time, tailoring, seeing how that it's impacting the conversation at that moment. So the T for tailoring is key in communication and in difficult conversations, in conflict. Then the A, authenticity. Every time, people, be you. Don't put any masks. I went there being the same Jose I'm here. Genuine, genuinely caring for that person. Okay? So be authentic. Present yourself as you are. Everyone else is taken. Okay, very important, authenticity when you go and communicate with another human being. There will be another level of connection when you do that. The C, candor. Be candid. Yes, I did the nudging, everything. I tailor my communication to the good old Matt. But I said what I wanted to say. I went for the issue. I tried to address it. Be candid. Frankness is very important. Don't beat around the bush. Tailor, okay? Tailor, but don't beat around the bush. And then finally, optimism. Know that when you delve into conflict, into a difficult situation like this, know that there can be a positive outcome. Be optimistic, be positive about it. Know that there can be a positive change, or as I like to say, a positive shift that eventually move Matt from here to here. So now you go tackle tailoring, authenticity, candid or candor, and optimism. So you've got, whenever the emotions, you got the fear, embracing mindset framework. Then you've got the tackle for delving into the conversation. So that gives you additional flexibility, adaptability. You address the issue and you still maintain a good energy when you're doing that. And then finally, I'm going to move on to the third point because I want to give you see, I'm trying to get my phone in there. There we go. Making sure I'm right on time. The third point, I want to give you some strategies. So when you're in the middle of that situation, apart from applying the fear embracing mindset and the tackle framework, which I'm sure you like, even if you don't like the taste of it, you will remember it, won't you? The third one is 5 strategies, okay, that I'm going to give you in order to handle conflict gracefully. And the 5 are, I will use again the lovely example in order to illustrate it. The first one is you are assertive. Okay, and remember, emotions are out. We are emotional beings, but we are regulating them. Okay, so we're not going either aggressive nor passive or submissive. We are going assertive and we go and tell what we want. So one of the strategies in a difficult situation like this is being assertive. And I will illustrate each one of them in a second. Alternatively, you can go into acceptance. So a person tells you something, you agree. I'll tell you a bit more in a second. You can ignore conflict or avoid it. You can compromise, which you may recall I did something like that with Matt, compromising, or you work together in order to solve the issue. Why am I sharing with you these 5? Because moving forward, whenever there is a difficult conversation, you will begin to notice your patterns, okay, your go-to strategies when you're dealing with a difficult conversation or conflict, and you will begin to understand what the other person is doing as a response to what you're saying. Isn't that fantastic? I mean, that give you great power, and it get you ahead of the game as well. It will enable you again to influence and lead people more effectively, okay? Which is what we want, right? In order to become the best you. So again, and finally, as we begin to go, finish the third part. Oh, it's just like that. Well, yeah, Matt didn't have that figure, but he was taller than me. As I'm having a conversation, so let me illustrate the assertiveness, which was the first strategy. Assertiveness is what I did when I told him about his arrogance. Assertiveness is what he did responding back to me. So if we keep on being assertive like that, potentially it can escalate. Okay? I could have said something else. I don't agree. I think you are arrogant and there is something we need to work on, for example, but that wasn't the time. Timing is also important. But you see, you present something and the other person pushes back. Let me now illustrate within that scenario how we compromised, which is another, the second one. There's 5 in total. The second one within this example. The compromising was the fact, remember, when I said, look, you don't agree, that's fine. Okay, in a way, you're saying that, yes, you're arrogant, fine. You're not taking on board my feedback. You're disagreeing with me. There's still disagreement in there, fine. But we need to compromise here. Can you change that behavior because it's impacting the room? And he said, yes. That is a great example of compromising. We cannot get a little bit, but I know there's more to do. But then, based on the time we had and the circumstances, I think that was a good strategy to go for. And then there wasn't anything else, remember, until we came back and he joined me for that coaching session. And during that coaching session, remember when he said to me, I want to spend these 90 minutes working on this arrogance that you mentioned? Well, working together to address that situation. Number 3, that's a great example. There is a disagreement. Let's sit down. Let's explore it. We have time. We have 90 minutes. Let's unpack the whole thing. Let's see what's in there. That's another one. It takes more time. Yes, of course. What's an example of acceptance in here? When I said that to him, he didn't accept it. So that's why we compromised. But during that coaching session, he accepted some of the things I said. And he began to realize that, yes, some of his behaviors weren't being as helpful as he thought, because he was acting from a good point. He's not a bad guy. He was just thinking that was the best way to go about it until we had that conversation. So he went into acceptance, based on certain things that I said. The thing that didn't happen here was the avoidance, which tends to happen a lot of the time. Whenever we have difficult conversations and the other person says something and, oh, yeah, we feel that, I don't really want to say that. I feel uncomfortable doing that. I don't think I got the courage. Very important word when it comes to difficult conversations, the courage to say what you want to say, but adapting it to the other person, tailoring it. Yeah. We tend to avoid. When we don't go and respond and say something, we avoid. It's what I like to say, ignoring the leaky roof, and you keep on walking by and you keep on ignoring it and you don't address it. Well, what can happen when you have tiny disagreements, you keep on avoiding, they may fester, they may blow out of proportion. That's why using these 5 strategies can be very good, will be very good, and will make you an effective communicator as well in the face of conflict or a difficult conversation. You may wonder, is there time for avoidance? Yes. Whenever a person is too emotional, potentially it is good to avoid. In that conversation I was having with Matt, in a way, since we went and compromised, but I avoided going back into the arrogance element. I dropped it for a moment because I didn't think that was the right time. So we went for compromise. So be mindful. Are you being over assertive or assertive all the time? Develop your flexibility and your approach. Begin to accept a bit more. Begin to compromise. Find time for collaboration, working together. And if you're going to be avoiding, doing with purpose. The key here, since you are looking to lead and positively influence people, the key is that whatever strategy out of the 5 you decide to implement is because that can have a positive impact on the relationship and the person. Okay? As a summary, I've spoken to Matt, not recently, maybe a few months ago. In terms of the results, he's decided to take on more responsibilities. He's leading bigger teams. He's taking on new initiatives, not because of that situation, but that helped because he said so. It was helpful for me to recognize that. So he's been more approachable as well. So his communication has changed. His leadership has positively evolved. Okay? So we have covered 3 points today. The first one, remember, fear embracing mindset. Take it with you. You've got that acronym. Whenever you feel fear, face, embrace, act on it, and then reflect. Reflection is very powerful. Then when you delve into conflict or into any conversation, remember the tackle, tailor, be authentic, be candid. And finally, the third one, be optimistic. And then finally, remember the 5 strategies. So yeah, be assertive, but also be accepting. Compromise. Oh, I'm having a moment here. I wish I could help you. If you were in the audience or in front of me, I would ask you, help me. What's the next one? Compromise, avoidance, and working together. I remember all of them. Combine all of these people, and I guarantee you, you're going to become a greater communicator. You're going to become free in your mind as well, because you will be able to express your feelings more effectively in a way that impact others positively. So you're not going to carry a burden. Whenever you feel something, you're going to have the courage to say in the best way in order to impact that person. And on occasions, it will go wrong. But then you will have the authenticity and the vulnerability to say, I'm sorry, whenever you make a mistake. Because the beauty of it is that you are operating from a place of love, caring, concern, because you want that person to be better. This is how you can utilize conflict, difficult conversations to lead and positively influence the people around you. This is how you can build incredible relationships, regardless of where in the world they are, regardless of the culture, because you will always be adapting, you will always be listening, you will always be caring. You won't hold back, but you will say things in a way that land in the best way possible. And that is powerful. And that's how you can become the best you. Thank you very much, everybody. And the Global Influence book is right there.
That's it. Thank you. Thank you, Jose. That was very informative. I loved it. I love the fear. I love the tackle. Very well. I mean, one of the things I love is obviously the strategies around this, and a lot of the times, obviously, the word conflict can, create instant fear, but it's how you deal with it and not getting emotional, and obviously being aware of what's going on and being conscious about it. And it's easier said than done, but obviously, this is kind of what you're doing and what you've been able to do. So thank you so much for the presentation. I thought it was great. So what you're offering your book, the book, Global Influence?
Yes. That Global Influence for everybody out there. As you know, Bernardo, it was published back in December, the 15th of December. So yeah, I'm inviting people, just get the copy and get in touch with me. If you like what I speak about, what I cover within the book, also book me to speak, because that's what I'm doing more and more. It's just to speak at corporate events and training teams on
Amazing.
Communication, global communication.
Well, global communication. Communication is the most important thing. But anyway, very generous of you, Jose. Thank you so much for sharing the book. Please get your phones out and make sure that you take take on Jose on his offer. Just a couple of comments here I'm going to share. Okay, I understand I need to practice what you're teaching me for resolve a little communication problem. Okay, great. Thank you very much from Emma. Great talk, Jose. That's from Matahari there. Thank you. And then, we've got Shara here saying that operate from caring and concern. So a lot of comments, and we actually had quite a few people here today. The QR code goes to Amazon. Is that it?
Well, if you go to Amazon, you can also go to joseucar.com if you want to download part of the book.
Yes. Okay, great. Well, there you go. That's the link. It takes you to Amazon. Look, I'm very grateful, and we've got so many viewers still connected today on a Sunday afternoon. So good. Congratulations on you. Jose, thank you so much once again.
Bernardo, my friend, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much, and keep in touch, okay?
I will keep in touch. Thank you so much.
Hasta
So
luego.
listen, hasta luego. Gracias, Jose. Thank you, Jose, originally from Venezuela in the UK, making some massive waves.